What it do, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome for the first time. My name is Kristen Youre and I'm here to motivate the day. And today, from the title, you guys can see I'm going to be giving you 5 tips, things that I've learned after going to therapy for 2.5 years, and I actually just graduated from therapy, so I might know a little something. So before we get into it, make sure that you're hitting the bell notification so you know every single time I post a new video, and subscribe. So let's get right on into it. Number 1, we've all heard the saying, time heals everything. Time heals all wounds. But the thing about that is, if you're not intentional with the time that you do have, you're never really going to heal. You're going to suppress. You're going to minimize. You're going to forget. Those feelings will always be there and they always come back. So rather than thinking that time heals all wounds, let's adjust the statement. Intentional time is going to heal your wounds, because if you are intentionally focusing on the trauma that you have, the things that you've been through, the things that have hurt you, and you realize how you can heal from those things, then you can really heal with the time that you're given. So when I was younger, I didn't have my father in my life and I had a lot of daddy issues, and I really looked to men for love. I remember being 15, I remember being 16, I remember being 17, and always being like, I'm not going to be in these situations, in relationships with people that I shouldn't be in relationships with, and by the time I hit the age 24, I'm gonna be fine, I'm gonna be good, I'm gonna be out of this. I'm 25 now, and I just feel like I've gotten to the point where I have reached a certain level of healing that my father being absent in my adolescent years, it's not affecting me anymore in my adulthood. And the reason that I feel like I'm truly healed from that is because I went to therapy. As I mentioned in the beginning, I just graduated from therapy, but I went to therapy and I talked about my father not being there and how that really truly affected me. I started really getting a game plan as far as how can we move forward from this. So it started with just breaking bits and pieces of, he wasn't here at this moment and this hurt me then, and talking to my dad, having uncomfortable conversations with my dad, with my mom. It just took being very intentional, writing my feelings down, journaling, in order for me to get to the point to where I am today. So intentional time heals all wounds. You have to make sure that you're being intentional with the time that you have, because those feelings will be suppressed and they'll always be there if you're not intentional and if you're not truly addressing your wounds. Number 2, reflect before reacting. Oh my goodness, when I tell you, I used to be that person who, I'm getting upset, I'm gonna let you know how I feel. I'm gonna write the paragraph, I'm gonna send it rather than leaving it in the notes app. So the thing with that is, feelings are fleeting. You're gonna feel mad, upset, angry, happy today, and tomorrow you could feel a completely different way. And rather than just going on a tangent, reacting and just doing something that you're completely going to regret, breathe, take a moment, really feel how you feel and think, because you could do something that could really cost you down the line. So make sure that you have, if you know that you could be a hothead and you could be upset, and rather, if you want to be just like me and you gonna send that paragraph rather than leaving in the notes app, send that paragraph to your best friend. Let them know, listen, I need to send it to somebody. I need to get these feelings out. Write or do a voice memo on your phone, anything rather than just reacting and doing something that you could regret. So breathe, have a game plan for yourself. If you know, when I get upset, I'm gonna finna fight, I'm mad, this is what I'm going to do. Have a game plan for yourself. I'm upset, I know I need to go outside and I know I need to walk. I know that I need to call XYZ because I need to let them know exactly how I'm feeling. So reflect before reacting, because reacting can really cost you. Number 3, get rid of I should statements. Oh my gosh, I was the biggest people pleaser, like the absolute biggest people pleaser, always making sure everybody else was good before I was good, putting myself in situations that I didn't necessarily have to put myself in, but I thought that I was going to let people down. So I would do unnecessary things, put myself in unnecessary situations, because I was always trying to make sure somebody else was good before myself. And I held myself to other people's standards. And I remember when I was in therapy, for the first time, well, for the second time as an well, okay, I was in therapy for the first time as an adult. When I was younger, I actually went to therapy, but first time as an adult. And I remember I would always say the statement, I should. Well, I should do this because so-and-so said I should. Or I should go to church because my parents said every single Sunday I need to go to church. I should wear this because this is what looks good to me according to my family, according to other people. And the thing about it is, those were not the standards that I set for myself. Those were the standards that so many other people set for me. And I remember my therapist telling me, you should do what? Why? Why should you do that? And when I really thought about it, I thought, this is not something that I've set for myself, but this is what other people have told me that I need to do. I need to do this. I should do that. And if you start to find yourself in those habits, or you've been doing that and you've been saying those things, start to ask yourself, why? Why should you do that? Why do you need to do that? According to what standard? Set standards for yourself so that you know, I should do that. I should do that according to whom? If it's according to the standard that you've set for yourself, great. But if it's according to the standard that your parents or bullies or negative people or the world has put on you, why should you do that? Why? Why? Number 4, boundaries are your best friend. Did you hear me? Hold on. Wait a second. Boundaries are your best friend. Boundaries are for you, and boundaries are different for everybody. All right. Boundaries, child. When I first started therapy, I didn't have no boundaries. Absolutely none. Coming out of therapy, baby, best believe I have boundaries for myself. The thing about it is, boundaries, we've put such a negative connotation on the word boundaries and what boundaries are. But the thing about boundaries is that they're for you. They're for your protection, and they're not selfish. Oh my gosh. So one boundary that I make sure that I have for myself is, after a certain time, I'm not answering my phone. I'm not gonna answer my phone. Leave me alone. That's my boundary. Because first of all, why are you hitting me up? And at this, which my friends know, if you hit me up past a certain time, it's very rare that I'm going to respond. Because my self-care, I don't want to be bothered after a certain time. I've gotten to the age where, leave me alone past 8 o'clock. Nah, okay, I lied, not 8, probably like 9, you know, have a little flex. But after a certain time, I don't want to be bothered. I want to be left alone, because that's my prerogative, because that's what I want, because that's my business. And the thing about it is, if somebody can't respect your boundaries, then they simply just don't need to be in your life. That's just what it is. Because if somebody says that they love you, that they care for you, and that they are gonna ride for you, then they're gonna respect your boundaries, because they know that you put that in place because that's what you need to do. That's what's best for you. So if somebody hits me up past a certain time, I'm tired, I'm going to bed, don't hit me up unless it's an emergency. That's the boundary that I've set for myself. So boundaries are for your protection. They are your best friend. Set them. And the thing about it is, stick to them. People aren't going to take you seriously if you're saying, this is the boundary that I've set for myself, and then you never stick to it. So stick to your boundaries, set your boundaries, stick to your boundaries, because your boundaries are your best friend. Number 5, probably one of the most important things that I learned throughout therapy is you're there for your benefit. Therapy is for you. You are only going to get as much as you put into your therapy journey. Oh my gosh. When I first started going to therapy, I was very surface level. I was very guarded. I had trust issues, and I'd been to therapy when I was younger, and that therapist, I just knew that they did not really care about me. They didn't care what I was talking about. They were just doing their job at the end of the day. And while I understand doing your job as a therapist, you have to at least act like you care, like you care about your patient. So going into therapy as an adult, I knew it was something that would probably be to my best benefit, but I was nervous, so I was guarded, and I didn't fully allow myself to be present in my experience. I started therapy as an adult in college, and my first session, y'all, was in like one of the like a very open space, like a study kind of area, but I'm around all of my peers. Like, I was not taking it seriously, and it took a few months for me to really dive deep and be serious and say, I want to get help, and this is for my benefit, so I'm going to put as much into it that I really want to get out. So be present and be fully there. Therapy is for you. You're only, again, going to get what you take out of it. So be honest with your therapist if you truly want help. Take their suggestions. I know one thing that was really helpful that my therapist was suggested for me was journaling, doing voice memo, like audio messages, and talking to myself, listening to that back, going outside and walking, getting out in nature, talking to my people in my life, my support system, but having those hard conversations. But I'm only where I am today and as healed as I am today, one, all glory to God, but number 2, because I really listened to my therapist and the suggestions that she gave. And that's why I'm no longer in therapy right now. And not to say that I would never go back to therapy, but I'm in a place, in a space right now in my life where I did the work, the hard work. And I used to tell my therapist every single week, this is ghetto. This is ghetto because it's painful, it's uncomfortable, and I don't like this. But right now, in the space that I'm in currently, I'm so grateful that my therapist held me accountable, because I am the woman that I am today, and I wouldn't be that woman if I hadn't put in the work. So be honest with your therapist, because you're only going to get in what you're only going to get out, what you put in to go into therapy. So do what you gotta do. Therapy is really hard. So anybody who's going to therapy right now, I really commend you. If you're thinking about it, do your research. One thing I know about therapy is your therapist really truly matters. And don't feel bad if you have a therapist and you're like, I'm not really feeling this person. Do your research to get somebody else. Because I'm telling you, the journey, I will always be an advocate for therapy, because I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. 1, without God, but 2, without therapy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for all of my upcoming videos. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, the bell notification, and stay tuned for all my upcoming content.